President Biden is trailing former President Donald Trump in 5 out of 6 crucial battleground states 1 year before the 2024 election, according to polls conducted by the New York Times. This is not New York Post. This is New York Times. And Siena College, Trump leads by margins ranging from 3 to 10 percentage points in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, while Biden is ahead by 2 points in Wisconsin. The poll reveals deep dissatisfaction with Biden's handling of the economy, again, and other issues, with voters believing his policies have personally harmed them. Demographic groups that strongly support Biden in 2020 are now more closely contested, and a majority of the electorate feels the country is moving in the wrong direction. Concerns about Biden's age and mental acuity are widespread, with 71% of respondents considering him too old to be an effective president. New York Times.
And this is what pisses me off, Pat. This is what pisses me off about that. Everybody says Biden this and Biden that. And let's be honest, okay? When Trump was in, all the decisions that he made, we got the point that Trump would be like, yo, it was Trump. He said this. He was stupid this. Joe Biden is literally making 0 decisions. And here's how I prove it. Every single time he speaks, Pat, he goes over or he says something that he's not supposed to say. What does he say? They said that I shouldn't be doing this, or they said if I keep doing this, I'm going to get in trouble. Stop lying to yourselves and thinking that it's him that's running it. We're not stupid. We know who's behind the scenes. It's Barack Obama.
Him down there, right?
Him down. It's Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer. You know, I'm pretty sure George Soros has a hand in all that stuff. But it's like, Pat, it worries me that Trump's numbers are up there. It worries me that they're trying, obviously, they're trying with the legal stuff in New York. I don't think it's going to stick. It scares me that what are they up to? What is the left up to? What kind of trick is up their sleeve for this year?
But there's only one thing left.
You only think it's that one?
There's nothing else left but the one thing.
Really?
There's nothing else.
You don't think, Pat, not to cut you off, you don't think in this, if I had to run a poll of 3 things, Rob, think about it. This election year is coming, Pat.
Don't run it yet. I'll tell you when to run it. Go ahead.
Let's just say, Pat, do you think to shake stuff up, to make it, to stay home and vote and not leave the house, is it going to be, because the border's open and they're threatening us, Christopher Wray's like, the terrorists are here. Is it going to be a terrorist event? Is it going to be another election, night of problems? Or is it going to be like something bigger? And, oh my God, aliens are here, or we're going into war. It has to be something.
I think the way they do it, you have only one option left with Trump, period. There's only one option. Listen, it's only one thing, okay? Look, it's crazy. Today, I got this book coming out December 5th called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And I finished doing the Audible. And by the way, freaking love doing I told certain stories about Tucker Carlson's when we were trying to get him on board to it. I told certain stories on the Choose Your Enemies Wisely Audible that it's not in the physical book. This comes out December 5th, okay? I'll tell you a crazy story. Watch this. You ever heard of the story of Dassler? You ever heard of Dassler? Dassler Shoe Manufacturing Company? You ever heard of Geta? Let me tell you the crazy story of Geta. Geta was the shoe invented by Rudolph and Addie. They produced this shoe, Geta, G-E-D-A, worn by the one and only Jesse Owens in 1936. Jesse wins 4 gold medals. When the world finds out what shoes he wore called the Geta, the G-E-D-A, Jesse Owens shoes, you can just type this. The Dassler brothers produced this shoe called Geta. Well, guess what happens? Their shoe company takes off. One brother against the other, they start fighting each other. They become each other's enemy. They chose the wrong enemy. Here's what ends up happening. On one end, Addie says Rudolph is a Nazi sympathizer. Rudolph says Addie stole money from the company. So they eventually say, this shit's not going to work. In 1948, you know what company starts Rudolph? He starts a company called Puma, which is now an $8 billion company. Guess what Addie starts? Adidas.
Wow.
In 1949. Adidas becomes a $34 billion company, okay? Fast forward to today, between the two of them, they're a $41, $42, $43 billion company. Nike comes out 20 years later, I think in 1960. If you type in when Nike was founded,
60s?
I want to say 67, 68, Nike gets started. There you go, 64, Eugene, Oregon. Nike gets started with Prefontaine. That's right, Go Pre. And these guys end up taking Puma and Adidas, and Nike becomes a $167 billion company, nearly 5 times what the two companies are worth combined. 4 to 5 times what they're worth. What happened? They chose the wrong enemy. The brother became an enemy. What's the moral of the story? Chamberlain thought Churchill was the enemy. He wasn't. The enemy was Hitler. America needs to get over this bullshit concept of thinking Trump is the enemy. Trump is not the enemy. The enemy is outside of the U.S. They are such scared little pansies worried about this guy, thinking he's the enemy. And then all of a sudden, when a World War III starts, you're like, holy shit, it wasn't really this freaking guy. At least he loves America and was safe when he was around. The enemy's outside. Does it really need to get to that point for people to get a little bit more comfortable to say, what the hell did we get sabotaged about? Convinced this guy was a bad guy for 50 years when he thought about the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Rappers wanted to be Trump. Kids wanted to be Trump. There's a reason why mainstream media hosted a show called Apprentice for 15 years. There's a reason for that. Why? Because it works. People wanted to buy. And then all of a sudden, one decision and mainstream media made you think this guy's a bad guy. I think people have to get to a point right now to realize the enemy is not within. The enemy is within the U.S. There's no question about it. We got a lot of them in the establishment side that are trying to take this country, this great country down. But the right people who can reason, the independents, the reasonable folks. Yesterday, I got into a conversation with a guy on Twitter. I'm like, do you really believe this about, Muslims and Hamas? You seem like a reasonable guy. How could you say any Muslim that, condemns what Hamas did, you're not a true Muslim?
What?
Any Muslim that condemns what Hamas did is not a true Muslim. And I actually like this guy. I've had him on before. I said, your language here, there's no ability to reason. You're convinced there is nothing wrong that was done about October 7th. A Muslim who condemns October 7th as a hypocrite and a traitor to Islam, okay? So I'm like, I got calls from Muslims saying, Pat, this is not us. This is not, and I'm like, I don't even think this is him because I've talked to this guy before. Mm-hmm. But to me, the point is this. People are starting to realize they don't want World War III. They just want a good economy. They want to have a job. They don't want to be gaslit. They don't want to be manipulated. They don't want to be brainwashed. They want to be free. They want to go watch a good movie without worrying about what's going to happen with these movies. They want to watch media and just give me the news. What the hell is going on? Stop telling me like bullshit that's a lie for 3.5 years, and then you move on. The other day, Steven Crowder shares the stuff that he gets from the police.
Manifesto, the national manifesto of the transgender girl.
Goes viral everywhere except Instagram takes it down. Videos take it down. Why? Because the guy was, the trans was a liberal saying stuff.
Kill white man.
Kill white
and all left ideology.
Yeah, all left ideology. No, we can't report on that.
Oh, of course not. That's why they hit it.
Look,
and worse than that, she had a mental issue, which people are saying is at the core of a lot of this.
That's what we've been saying forever.
But that's not the narrative, is it?
And now, Pat, going back to my question, Pat, do you think those people that you're talking about are going to wake up? I genuinely don't feel it. And I'm not saying I don't have hope.
You don't need everybody, though, bro. Life doesn't work that way, Vinny. In life, you think, very early on in my life, I had certain people that didn't support me starting my own company. At certain people, when we got married, Jen and I got married, you have no idea how many endless letters we got. I specifically, anonymous. Why are you marrying a white girl? Why are you marrying this? When I started an insurance company, you know how many people didn't support that I wanted their support? You know how many people told Jen, you sure you want to marry Pat, a guy from Iran? You sure you want to marry a guy like that that's got that kind of a temperament that he's going? You sure you want that? Guess what? We're okay. We're taking marriage 1 year at a time. Yeah. Business is doing okay. But you thought you needed everyone's support. You don't need everyone's support. You need the right amount of reasonable people who have the courage, the willingness to accept flaws in their own argument, accept the other side's argument, okay? They're able to reason. They love people. If we can have fundamentally those 5 elements that you need, where we can have a good conversation together and make progress, then we can lead the rest of the world. It starts with those 5. If we don't have those things, forget about it. But I think plenty of people today are sitting around saying, you know what? I think there's something out there. I think we're going to be okay, and we're finding each other.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.